Hello, this is Alexander Siddig, and you're listening to Kneel Before Pod, and don't tune out.
Kneel Before Blog presents Kneel Before Pod.
Welcome to a Kneel Before Pod flashcast. It's not every day that history is made by a piece of casting, but it was 2 days ago, and I'm here with Kat discussing it. I'm your host, Craig. Hello, Kat.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. I'm actually really excited to talk about this because it's a piece of history, and I'm so glad to kind of be where it happens, But yeah, let's tell us what we're talking about, Craig.
We are talking about the casting of the new Doctor Who lead, who is female for the first time in 50-something years. 52 years? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And it's good to be there with a couple of days to reflect, because there's a lot of passionate reactions out there, shall we say? But
yeah. And it was bound to be the case. It's sad to see negative reactions to something so positive and nice. I can only see it as a nice thing, and it's just, it reminds us of the kinds of people who exist in the world who just can't be happy with happy news, and they will find a grim kind of outlook on anything. I personally am very, very happy, both with the fact that the Doctor is finally a lady, and with the fact that it's Jodie Whittaker, because I really like her as an actress. I think she has a lot of comedic skill. She's also fantastic in drama. I've seen her on a couple of TV things. There was a film last year at Edinburgh Film Festival, actually, Adult Life Skills, which was really, really funny.
That's all I know her from.
Yeah, she was fantastic in that. It was funny, but also quite sad. It had a great balance. It had, a lot for her to play with. I've also seen her on a show called oh no, what's it called? Oh my god, what was it called? Edit this out. Oh god, my gosh.
Broadchurch?
No, I haven't seen Broadchurch. Yeah. I haven't actually seen Broadchurch. She was on a show about London firefighters, which I forget the title of. Oh, The Smoke. The Smoke. It's called The Smoke. And she was really good in that. That was pure drama. Really, really great show. And I'm sure she's great on Broadchurch as well. That show has actually been on my list for quite some time, but I think she's going to do a great job, and I'm very, very excited. And just watching the trailer actually kind of brought tears to my eyes, and I didn't expect that at all. I was just kind of, I just put it on because it came up, and I just felt so inspired from that 60-second clip that I was like, wow, I can't imagine what it'll be like when she's actually the Doctor and we get to see her waltz around and stuff. That's going to be great.
Yeah, I didn't see the trailer at first. That wasn't how I found out. It was just, I saw people chatting about it on Twitter. It just came up, #Doctor Who, so I clicked on it, and that was how I found out. I didn't know there was actually a trailer until hours later.
Yeah.
I thought they'd maybe just mentioned it at the tennis, but I don't like tennis, so I was never going to sit and watch the men's final or whatever the reveal happened on. So, yeah, I wish I'd kind of found out by watching the trailer, because I can imagine the way it built up was quite tense, because you see the figure walking through the woods. It's unclear what the gender is until the hood comes off and stuff. So I wish I'd seen it that way and found out that way, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true. I also found out from just text announcements and articles that came out just after the announcement had aired. I think I was at work, so I wouldn't be watching the tennis at that time anyway. But yeah, I'm glad that reaction has mostly been good. With of course the inevitable outcry of misogynists on the internet everywhere, just suddenly thinking like their world is ending just because there's a slight change. But I think this was inevitable in terms of regenerations. Even Matt Smith's doctor at some point said, oh, I'm not a girl yet, and I'm not ginger again. Oh, okay, fine. I'm like he was expecting or waiting for that to happen. So I was kind of expecting that to happen down the line anyway.
Yeah, and it's been part of the show's canon for a number of years now. It was at first referred to in that Neil Gaiman episode, and then it actually happened with the Master. Spoilers, and and with a general, a Gallifreyan general in the season 9 finale. Yeah, 9. Yeah. So it's been possible for a long time. People have just been ignoring it, I think. It was inevitable, and actually, I kind of thought I'm kind of surprised they took the punt on it at this point. I thought they would have maybe went for a black actor or something at first to kind of test the water, but there would have been as much of an outcry over that, unless it was Idris Elba, in which case everyone would have loved it.
Oh, he's too big for that kind of thing now.
Well, he still does Luther, but that's less episodes. Yeah, so I think the casting is good. In terms of how it's going to actually be, it all depends on the writing for me. You can have the best actor in the world, but if they've got rubbish scripts, then they're going to be rubbish, no matter how good the talent involved is. So, like Peter Capaldi's early days, I thought they were rubbish. Matt Smith, as good an actor as he is, I pretty much stopped watching the show at one point because I just wasn't enjoying it at all. So, we'll see what Chris Chibnall does for script-wise. And with his writing team and so on. It all depends on that at this point.
For sure. I've seen a lot of speculation about Chibnall's writing online, particularly with regards to how he's going to handle a female doctor. But remind me again what else he's worked on?
Broadchurch.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what inspired the casting, perhaps. Okay. Well, I haven't. It's the only thing I haven't seen. So I can't gauge from that, and besides, it's quite dramatic where Doctor Who is obviously more family friendly, and therefore will have a lot more comedy in it. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, let's see how he does. I'm very open-minded with anything that's kind of fundamentally changing like this. So I've seen a lot of people kind of going, oh, he's kind of untested. He hasn't done anything like Doctor Who before, so, as if that's a bad thing. But
well,
I think
has literally done Doctor Who. So he's written 6 episodes of Doctor Who, so I think he knows what he's walking into.
Yeah, I think. But like to be given the reins for the show now, like that's quite major. But I'm very, very optimistic about the combination, and hopefully, they'll deliver a nice story. I'm very much an arc kind of story person. Like I really enjoy, especially in Doctor Who, kind of the arc that spans the entire season, and kind of seeing the clues that are laid in early on, and then kind of build towards a bigger mystery towards the end. I really like that. So I'm excited to see what's going to be this new Doctor story.
Yeah, I think Doctor Who's not always successful with its arc storytelling.
Yeah.
I think Russell T Davies was better at it than Moffat is. His arcs tend to be overly convoluted, and he forgets what they're supposed to be about by the time he's resolving them. So, I actually prefer the kind of standalone nature for Doctor Who. I like the idea of just stumbling into a situation and then figuring it out rather than everything all tying together, you know. And that's what I liked about the most recent season, at least in the earlier episodes, where there was just stuff going on and they were reacting to it rather than all building into the Daleks are coming back in a few episodes. I always hate those kind of... the reveal is either going to be the Daleks, the Master, or the Cybermen. Or a combination thereof, so... Yeah.
I guess so. It has... I don't know that it's always been the case.
Pretty much, though.
I haven't even finished the first Capaldi season. Reason being that I disliked Capaldi's Doctor very much. I just really didn't like him as a person. He was mean and unkind, and for me, a bit undoctorly. Like, that wasn't what I wanted the Doctor to be. And so I stopped watching, I think, about 4 or 5 episodes in to Capaldi's first season. So perhaps it's worth catching up, especially as there have been changes in the recent season, from what I hear anyway, from what I've been told. And yeah, I'm mostly excited to see where they're going to take it with Whittaker's Doctor, so I'm inclined to catch up and see where that goes.
I would suggest skipping the first Capaldi season entirely and going straight to his second. Mm-hmm. The first one is just routinely bad. There's a couple of good episodes in there, but on the whole, it's just... Well, I just found it pretty unwatchable most of the time. His second series is when they stopped recycling Matt Smith scripts, I think, and came up with something for him. So if you were feeling that there was a bit disjoint to his character, that was why. I think they were just retooling Matt Smith stuff and trying to overlay behaviour that wouldn't fit this current version.
Oh, I see. That's a very interesting take on it. I think that makes sense, yeah, about the disconnect for sure. Because it just didn't gel. You had a very different character handling things that perhaps would have come up with Matt Smith's Doctor, but he was handling everything kind of wrongly, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, and he was acting like a child.
Yeah, and it's like, that's not what he would... What are you doing? And yeah, I was quite upset about that. But yeah, that's a good piece of advice. I think I might just go into the second season straight away.
Yeah, the first season, it ends with Cybermen and convoluted death stuff. It's really bad. But yeah, his second series is really good, apart from a couple of stinkers. But they basically experiment with a format where they're telling 2-part stories. So essentially you get a film over 2 weeks, like 80 minutes worth of story, which gives them a bit of time to play around with, some of the bigger concepts, because they don't have to rush to the resolution by the end of the 40 minutes. Mm-hmm. It worked For me in most cases. Some cases it's like, yeah, this story could have been told in 40 minutes.
Yes.
It's the second last Harry Potter problem sometimes. It's like you had something you could do in 2 hours and you've taken 4.5 to do it for some reason. That reason is money, usually, for movies especially. Yeah.
But TV shows as well, I guess. It's like we have there was a relevant quote from a Greek TV show, but I can't. Loosely translates to just stretch it so that we can make another episode out of it. Basically, it's like the soap opera concept, where you have a very, very simple story and you stretch it over, say, 60 episodes, and not much happens. So there's just a lot of repetition, a lot of just characters asking the same questions and getting the same answers purely to fill the screen time. And I feel like that happens a lot with TV series where the plot is quite thin.
Yeah. We've built the sets, we're going to keep using them.
Yes, essentially.
We can't afford a new location, we're going to keep using this one. Yeah, that's pragmatic, I suppose, but yeah, Series 9, so much better. And Series 10, also mostly quite good, apart from the middle part where it starts to sag, but I don't know. It just, no Doctor Who series is perfect, I suppose.
I guess so.
Yeah, So in terms of this upcoming Doctor, what do you think they're going to do with the kind of personality? I mean,
I don't know. I can't predict this. Anything I say will be proven wrong. I can't possibly. I hope that she is smart. I hope that.
Well, that's a given.
Yeah, well, I mean, is it though? Is it though?
Well, she'll be a genius.
Perhaps a particular smart, but not arrogant. Because I don't like arrogance in the Doctor. It's the reason I didn't like David Tennant's Doctor, because he was very arrogant. As was Capaldi, I guess, which is why I didn't warm up to him.
Matt Smith was very arrogant.
Because I think Tennant was more arrogant. He literally walks around saying, "I'm the best, I'm the smartest, I know everything, and you guys are wrong, and you guys are stupid because you don't listen to me." There's an attitude difference, which I'm just hoping that she doesn't do that. Mostly because I just don't like I don't like arrogance in any kind of character. I hope that her story gets to explore kind of parts of the Doctor's story that we haven't seen before. I would like not to revisit existing kind of conflicts and stuff we already know, because okay. I mean, but parts of it, of course, will we see the Daleks again? Of course we will.
Yeah, definitely.
Will we see the Cybermen again? Of course we will. All of these things, for sure. But I would like to find out kind of monumental things about the Doctor, and perhaps, the Doctor's past, in the way that we found out, say, about the War Doctor back in that special. Just kind of more answers about his underlying mystery, her underlying mystery. It's so exciting to change pronouns in this case. It's so exciting. My gosh, yes.
It's going to be a nightmare from a review point of view for when especially when it refers to previous incarnations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was like, in the past, he has done this, but now she does this. It's going to be... Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to navigate, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think they shouldn't sort of lean into the femininity of it, I suppose, because I think the good thing about the Doctors is you can slot any Doctor into any episode, and that would largely play out the same. I mean, their methods would be a little bit different, but in general, you'd get to the same place. The result would be the same. The lack of violence, the thinking their way out of the problem, and I think there's definitive traits that every Doctor should have. Compassion, curiosity, passion, that kind of stuff. And there's nothing about that specifically any gender really in any of them. I've never thought the Doctor was especially masculine.
No, for sure. Yeah, I don't think that would add anything to if they focused, if that became I think it would detract, if anything, from the character. As you say, it's interchangeable. It's why he can turn into a woman, and he is the same person, she is the same, different personality, of course, but that part had always been in the Doctor, and now she's just coming to the surface, and that's it, So absolutely agree with you.
The only narrative changes I'd like to see is, and you would get the same with a black actor, if he goes she goes back far enough back in time, people will stop listening to her. And I think it's a good thing to do, because it's not denying that history happened. So if she turns up in Victorian London, which happens quite often, you should probably expect a bit of an attitude change from people in authority. A white guy can go pretty much anywhere in time and space and be okay, but women or people of colour.
Ooh, that is true.
So much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is absolutely true. And it will be interesting to see that kind of coming to play, but then be subverted, because obviously it's Doctor Who. We're not going to end on a depressing note. It's not going to be like, well, you're a woman, so whatever. and then just kind of end scene, credits, like that's it. That's the episode. I really don't think that that's ever going to happen. And seeing that kind of attitude subverted and changed, and especially seeing how it will play into perhaps historical events, I'm very curious to see how they're going to go about that. So yeah, for sure.
Although I'm half expecting a really insensitive suffragette episode.
Oh no! Do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know Chibnall's writing at all, apart from some episodes of Torchwood that were not good.
Listen, it's not Moffat. Like, Moffat's already had a go at the suffragettes in Sherlock, and that was terrible. So I'm hoping Chibnall has learned from that, and just if you're gonna do it, don't do what Moffat did, basically, because that episode was pants. So hopefully.
Yeah, let's stay away from that.
I'm just really crossing my fingers here, because now that you mentioned it, I'm going to worry about this until it happens. Yeah,
I can see the show not really addressing the gender change at all, other than maybe on a story level where, people of the past dismiss her because she's a woman, and women are not regarded well in society at that specific time. They could do other things, like she becomes the queen of some kind of alien planet, primitive alien planet or something. It could all happen. It could go in any direction in that sense, I suppose. I've never been a queen before or something like that. I could see lines like that getting trotted out. Mm-hmm. It's all to play for. I think, as I said before, it depends on the writing. I don't know what the approach is going to be in terms of how the character is. Is it going to be a darker character? Is it going to be a more whimsical character? Which Doctor is it going to resemble the most? Because every one of the modern Doctors has kind of got an analogue in the older Doctors. I don't know if that'll happen.
Yeah, for sure.
But I suppose they invite comparison just by existing anyway. So
exactly. I hope that that's not going to be the focus. Mostly because, let's breathe some new life. I'm hoping that this casting choice will breathe some new life into story choices, into the character itself. I'd rather not dwell on it in such a way, but we'll see what they'll do.
But I mean, it's an incredibly progressive step forward. People talk about it as if it's the first major sci-fi franchise to do this, but Star Trek did it 22 years ago with, when they had Captain Janeway.
For sure. I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but it is, for the show itself, just for Doctor Who, we've been waiting for this for quite some time. And it's great that it has happened, and it paves the way for other changes and for other kind of progressive steps forward and other kind of creative liberties that they can take, because, the sky is the limit, quite literally. The universe is the limit. You could literally have anything at all.
Yeah.
So, just go forth and create and make good stories is my takeaway from this.
Yeah, one of the biggest roles in fictional history can now be played by anyone, which is interesting, and it'll open the door for other things. I don't think it'll be too long until James Bond is gender fluid as well, perhaps. Maybe that'll take a bit longer, but I think you'll see a black James Bond before you see a female James Bond. But I've probably said that about Doctor Who, so who knows? What do I know?
Yeah, let's see.
I mean, it's something that's not come up in the media a lot is the fact that the Doctor could now be essentially a transgender icon, which is an interesting thought.
I mean, for sure, the fact that there is Time Lords generally, the fact that they have that possibility to change genders, of course it's an icon, and I'm sure that this will be very inspirational for trans youths everywhere. I hope so, anyway.
suppose the major difference is the Doctor doesn't choose to change gender, whereas people have to an extent.
That's true, yes. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're trapped in the wrong gender initially, but there is that choice in admitting it and doing something about it as well. Yeah, I'm just interested to see what goes on. I'm always on board for a new Doctor actor. I think I'll always root for them at first because you don't know anything about them up front. You know, everyone said Capaldi was too old, and well, he's not. But
no, I mean, I never. Yeah, I guess. I never thought he was too old. I just didn't like his Doctor's personality. That had nothing to do with his age, everything to do with the fact that he lied and sent people to their deaths and didn't even care. But that was my problem. I think that was the point where I stopped watching. He sent somebody to his death. Definitely. Yeah, he just sent somebody to his death, lied to his face, and when Clara was like, hey, you just sent that guy to his death, and he was like, there's always casualties. Like, seriously? Seriously? Is this the Doctor? Like, what is going on? And that, had nothing to do with his age. As that kind of iteration of the Doctor. Because let's not forget, the Doctor is a very, very old individual. I haven't kept track of the Doctor's age. I mean, how old would he be now, Capaldi, as the Doctor?
He says he's over 2,000.
Oof, well, there we go. Yeah. Because you had that long time when Matt Smith's version just sat on a planet for hundreds of years. For quite some time, yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It opens up this other can of worms when it comes to, the physical appearance when they regenerate. Is that like... is Capaldi regenerated older in terms of his physical condition as well? Is he, does he have a shorter lifespan in that version than the Matt Smith version would have, for instance, because he's physically younger, or is it just an affectation? I don't know that there's a lifespan depending on. Is that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Has that been established through previous iterations of the Doctor, that if he's older physically, then he lives less until he has to regenerate? Yeah, I wouldn't think so. I mean, I would like that not to be the case.
When it was first on, he was written as an old man, but that's because they didn't think they would ever need to, they would have the longevity to regenerate, so he was just an old guy travelling through time. Which is, that's what he was. And then he regenerated into someone younger because they wanted a younger actor who could play it for longer and so on. And now we are where we are, where he's 2,000 years old and still going. But yeah, the physical age thing, it's one of these things I don't really want to explain because it's something that you can talk about forever. And you can come up with different arguments for and against. So, but the Matt Smith version, he was a very, very old man in terms of his physical condition before he died, in inverted commas. And the Capaldi version, he looks like he's in his 50s, which, a Time Lord in their 50s is probably still a teenager. But,
for sure, yeah.
So, I don't know. It's interesting to think, because now, in terms of physicality, he's regenerating into a 30-odd-year-old woman. So, someone who can, in theory, run again, I suppose. I mean, Capaldi does some running, but not for a long time. He kind of has short bursts, and then he arrives where he needs to be.
Yes.
And he doesn't run around the TARDIS. He can fly it properly because he doesn't run around pressing buttons and flicking switches and looking busy. But that's a debate for another time, I suppose.
For sure.
I just don't want the episode where they sit down and say, now, this is why it took me 13 goes to become a woman, and this is what happens when I regenerate, and, stuff like that. Don't really need to know that stuff. We don't.
No. Let's see. I'm very, very optimistic. Roll on December.
Well, I wouldn't say December is going to be an indicator, because it'll be
the special, but still.
Yeah. It always ends on a joke. The new Doctor has one or two lines. It's a joke.
Yeah, perhaps.
Capaldi talked about the colour of his kidneys. And, And Matt Smith was yelling about, not being...
Fish fingers and custard.
Well, that wasn't till later, but yeah.
Ah, that's true. Mm.
So those 2 minutes that she spends in the Christmas special will tell you nothing, because the personality will be in flux at that point and you won't know. So it's not until...
Oh, that's true, yeah. She won't solidify until later.
Yeah, probably won't be till next Easter.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got a long time to wait. but yeah, I think we've exhausted the reveal as much as possible. There's a bit of excitement.
I think so. Yes.
There's some nerd rage. You've got to love some nerd rage.
I don't particularly, but I
don't know. I've enjoyed reading comments. Some of them are very funny. It's even funnier to think that they're serious because they read like a parody of someone who's trying to be annoyed at something. But, it's happened. It's going to happen. If you don't like it, don't watch the show. I'm sure it'll survive and gain new viewers in the process. And I'm guessing that first episode of the series will be one of the most watched things on the BBC ever.
Yeah. And hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah.
But I guess it'll depend on whether it's good. So Chibnall has...
Yeah, unless it's rubbish, in which case it doesn't deserve to be watched.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Chibnall has, a big shoes to fill in terms of, like big expectations to meet, rather.
Yeah.
And because I'm sure that everybody's, looking to him now.
Yeah, and I think it's time for Moffat to leave. I think he's given all he can, really. But new doesn't always mean better. As Moffat proved with Russell T Davies. I think Russell T Davies is better, but...
Well, Russell T Davies was new once.
Yes, he was.
So, yeah.
And he was better than nothing, so...
Yeah, exactly.
At first he was better than nothing. He had been on Doctor Who since, that movie in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the reveal. I think we've talked as much as we can about this... Well, this trailer that doesn't even show you anything.
Yes.
So, do you have any final points?
I'm excited, and this is going to get me to watch the show again. So, they've succeeded in bringing one person back. I'm sure, I'm sure more people are where I am as well. Yeah.
Well, you can catch up on Series 9 and let me know what you think.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. It's good. I haven't rewatched it since it was on, but I do want to one of these days. If anyone wants to pay me to sit around and watch TV, that'd be great.
You heard it here first, guys.
But no one is so far. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, I'm excited too. So thanks for joining for this quick chat. And thus endeth the Flashcast. So please subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, or any major podcasting app. And a special thanks to YouTubers Jurassic Dave and 331 E-Rock for the supplied music. And catch us next time on Kneel Before Pod.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Bye.